Welcome back, everybody, to the GioMoShow, 88.3 FM WXOU. If you want more sports content from this station, then look no further than tomorrow at 4 p.m. The Blue Ski Mask Show, every Tuesday at 4, is your home for the ultimate experience of Detroit football and Detroit basketball. Oakland Post sports editor Brock Hillig and sports reporter Kirk Szymanski will take you on an exhilarating ride through the world of the Detroit Lions and the Detroit Pistons. Get ready for in-depth analysis, player spotlights, game reviews, and expert insights, all centered around the NFL and the NBA action in the Motor City. So if you want more talk and you want a more detailed and even more of a conversation about this game, Tuesday at 4 p.m. right here on WXOU is the place to be. And you can find it afterwards on the WXOU Sports' YouTube channel, as the Blue Ski Mask Show is uploaded there every week. The Blue Ski Mask Show, Tuesdays 4 to 5 on WXOU. So we talked about the Lions in the NFC Championship game, but what happened on the other side? What happened in the game prior, chronologically at least, between the Chiefs and the Ravens? I watched this one, and I was thoroughly disappointed with the result and with the way the game went. So I thought that the Ravens had a shot the entire game. I believed them to be the winner. They were the favorite. They were at home. They had the best roster. They had the best team, at least in the AFC. You can argue with the Niners, but most people would agree that the Ravens were the best team this year, throughout this year. With the MVP in Lamar Jackson, allegedly, or meaning we don't know for sure yet, but the Ravens are supposed to be the best team. And there were plenty of times where they looked that way. You saw Lamar Jackson on multiple occasions getting pressured in the pocket, literally flipping the defender over his head, escaping and making a big play. That literally happened twice. You literally saw him get a pass batted, him go and catch it for a 12-yard reception, technically you could call it. That's what Lamar Jackson did in the game. The O-line of the Ravens was big and powerful. The run game was strong. And they somehow only scored 10 points? What? How do you score 10 points against the Chiefs? Yes, their defense is good, but you're at home, man. You're supposed to punk them. And that didn't happen. But to boil down the game into the reason I believe the Ravens lose, because I didn't want the Chiefs to win. And yes, people were saying a lot that day that, the Chiefs are a better matchup for us in the Super Bowl. That wasn't a crazy thing to think because we were one game away. People said the Chiefs were a better matchup for us in the Super Bowl. I disagreed. I mean, I would go back and forth on it, but overall, I disagreed because you don't want to see Patrick Mahomes in the Super Bowl. You don't want to see that experienced team in the Super Bowl. There's no way you're covering Kelsey. Yeah, you could stop the run, but you know some crazy stuff's going to be happening because of their experience. That's Mahomes' fourth Super Bowl. This is Mahomes' fourth Super Bowl. I don't want to see that as a very young, very inexperienced first-time team making it to the Super Bowl. I don't want to see that. I want to see the team that we played, got our butts whooped by. I want to see that team because then we have a lot of things to correct. We have a lot of things to look at, and luckily we have 2 weeks to do so. We have experience against how they play, at least a little more recent experience. We didn't play the Chiefs with their best players. We played the Ravens with all their players. So I would rather have seen the Ravens. So I wanted the Ravens to win. But what kept them from winning? Undisciplined, boneheaded mistakes. That's what I think cost them this game. You had multiple penalties, some on the same drive, that just killed their momentum. And here's the thing. Roughing the passer, what was it? It was roughing the passer, taunting, hands to the face, or whatever the penalty. I think those are some of the penalties that were called. Normally, they're soft. And normally, they don't, we get upset by them because we think they're fugazi. We think that they're stupid penalties that are soft and shouldn't be in the game. But all the penalties that were called on the Ravens were legit and textbook examples of what you should not do when you're at least on defense. You had Jadeveon Clowney leading with the crown of his helmet, hitting Mahomes in the face when he was trying to sack him. You haven't been able to do that in 10 years. And he's a veteran. He should know that. You had the player who punched Mahomes in the face trying to shed a block. I thought that was really funny looking. But you can't hit the passer on the head, even if it's soft. The rule is explicit, saying you can't hit his head. That's not a judgment call. They will call it every time. You should know not to do that. And maybe on that certain play where he was being blocked and he reached out his left hand to hit him in the face, maybe he just didn't see, whatever. But still, that was a correct and definite call. And then you got Zay Flowers, and I understand he's a rookie, and I'm going to say it again after I start complaining about what he did. But you're a great rookie receiver. You're one of the big reasons that the Ravens were so good this year, because you gave Lamar an actual passing option other than Mark Andrews and Isaiah Likely. Yes, you're very good. You catch a bomb downfield. That thing was like a 50-yard pass. You catch it, but then what do you do after? You shove the guy off your leg. You stand over him. You spin the ball, and you get called for taunting. Because that's the definition of taunting in the NFL. You can't stand over the receiver. You can't spin the ball on his face. You can't do that. You can't do that. So instead of being on the 10-yard line, you're backed up to the 25. And thank goodness that you make it back to the goal line. Who do they go to for the potential touchdown pass? They go back to Flowers. He gets the pass, and he reaches over with the ball, and it's punched out. You lose the ball at the goal line. It's recovered by the defense. Touchback. Chiefs on the 20. Did you not see the Chiefs do that same thing in their previous game against the Bills? Did you not see Mecole Hardman do that same thing in what could have potentially iced the game for them? It was just last week. What are you reaching the ball over for? That's the one rule that benefits the defense. That's the one thing you should not do. That play was a first down. You would have had 3 more chances at the 1-yard line to punch it in with your massive, massive O-line and run game. But you wanted the touchdown and you wanted to reach for it, and it gets punched out. And then on top of all of that, you're understandably upset on the sideline. You cut your hand from slamming it on the bench? From slamming your helmet, you start cutting your hand? Can't have that. Can't do that. Shouldn't do that. It's a lesson that he'll remember as a rookie. It's a lesson he'll remember not to do again, and it's going to be a big maturing moment for Zay Flowers. But, dude, that was bad. As good as you were, you potentially cost them the game. So other than that, some other random notes that I have for this game before we get to Golden Grizzlies. Lamar is fantastic. I mentioned a couple plays before. He threw off to the defender, made a good play, caught his own batted pass. The dude is spectacular. Kyle Hamilton is also spectacular. There was a drive where he made all 3 tackles, all 3 big plays for what I think it was a 3-and-out for the Chiefs. Hamilton is an amazing player. I was really astonished seeing him. And then my final note, I don't understand how Kelsey and Mahomes still do it. I don't understand it. These passes shouldn't work. They're ducks in the middle of the field. Somehow they don't get picked off. I don't understand that. They're historic. And yeah, if they're historic like that, yeah, usually you don't know how it gets done. I just couldn't believe that it kept getting away with it. And I'm curious to see when Kelsey retires, because Mahomes is still going to be playing after Kelsey. I'm curious to see if those bad habits potentially developed with that relationship. I'm curious to see if those bite him after Kelsey retires. Not saying that he can't still be good after Kelsey, but that's going to be a big question. Because some of those passes looked awful, but because they were to Kelsey, they worked. So, all in all, we have the worst Super Bowl matchup that we could have asked for. We got Taylor Swift versus Brock Purdy. We have the worst color scheme Super Bowl imaginable. 2 red and yellow teams. The aesthetics are terrible. A purple and a blue, that would have looked sweet. A red and a blue, that would have looked sweet. But no, let's get red and red. Colors aside, I didn't want either of these teams getting in. I didn't want the Chiefs to get in because I just am so upset that they got away with being terrible this year and still made it to the Super Bowl. Like, can you please just be a regular team, please? And watch, I'm going to start putting asterisks on this. In the playoffs, you played the Dolphins in your house in a blizzard or in negative 40 degrees. You played the Bills who don't know how to win a game, who purposely would lose the game because of a Damar Hamlin fake punt. So, a team that was frozen solid, a team that with no brains, and you get the number 1 seed with a bunch of penalties at home. Self-inflicted penalties. But dude, this Chiefs team blows. And I'm so frustrated that they still made it. So, yay for the Super Bowl. Hooray. We get a matchup we saw 3 years ago. Yay. After this break, we'll be coming back with your Golden Grizzlies sports update. We got basketball, men's and women's, and we got swim and dive. We're going to get through it quickly here on the JoMo Show, 88.3 FM, WXOU.